I think you have to understand you're in control. Facebook and TikTok and podcasts and YouTube don't make you do anything.
Yeah.
They don't make you do anything.
Gary, I'm asking this with love. And, for me, this was a big thing. I think it was I think I'd been making content for 2 years before I introduced my community to my wife.
Yes.
And everyone was like, Jay, you're married? Like, people had no idea because I just didn't talk about her because we just got married. We'd been together for a few years before that. I was like, I need to be careful about what we're going to say, where this is going, how this feels. You've recently been more open about your relationship.
Yes.
We don't have to go there. This is
You're being very kind and I appreciate it.
Because I respect you. And I'm asking it from a place of respect.
I am incredibly private, as you know,
that's
and the
why.
world knows. Because I'm going through a transition in my life, I felt like it got to a place where it was not sustainable for me to be 100% private. And so I've been a little more public. It is something that I'm desperately not interested in. Even the part we just talked about with my kids, it's not somewhere I want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to talk about my kids. I don't want to talk about my personal.
We can cut a little bit.
No, I want you to keep this.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I want to remind people you're in control.
Yeah.
It's incredibly important and appropriate. And I appreciate, especially being very cordial for people to ask and things of that nature. But I want to remind people they're in control.
Yeah.
I want to provide value and put out things in my professional career. I'm incredibly private and feel that the world is entitled to what you give it. So when I watch people get upset when people get into their business, I'm like, you're giving them your business. By the way, you're leveraging your business. I don't want to leverage nor give my personal life to the world. I don't think that's the right way, by the way. I just think it's my way. So the reason I have a little bit to what you're referring to is it became not sustainable because it's been a long time and I was in a transit, it was the appropriate time. And I needed to just get some context out there, but it's not where I'm going to go.
And that's what I was more interested by. To me, it's not.
Listen, us being together, my brain goes into maximize the value at the highest levels because we have the opportunity to for as many people are listening. The takeaway there from my perspective is you're in control. You have a learning disability and you want to share it, mazel tov. You don't, great. It took me back to something less serious. It took me 15 years of public life to say I'm not candorous. And it's hurt me in my personal life and it's hurt me in my business life. You get to share what you want to share. And I think people should be careful of what they share. You share your abs as you're a good shaped dude, people are going to talk about your body for the rest of your life. Like you did that. You're going to show your kid all the time, they're going to talk about that. Relationship, they're going to talk. You're giving the world permission. I prefer not to give the world permission because that's a sacred place for me. Even look at my mom. She the greatest gift I could give to the world is my mom to the world. The greatest. She's alpha me. She's more experienced. She's a different perspective as a mom. She doesn't want it. The end, right? I thought my dad and mom would be reverse. My dad, I never thought would love the limelight so much. But so I think if you're listening right now, please, if you're not going on social media because you have a skeleton in your closet, you have a disease, you have a bad, situation, you're like me, and grew up in a family where personal life is private. That's, I think, in Russia, that was people would go to jail if anybody knew anything about you. So I think it ingrained in my parents, which then ingrained in me and my sister and brother, we're private that way. I think you have to understand you're in control. Facebook and TikTok and podcasts and YouTube don't make you do anything. They don't make you do anything.
I'm so glad you addressed that because I think and this is why I brought it up, I think there's been a mask of false vulnerability that's been encouraged because of social media. So people think that the more vulnerable or more open you are, that shows authenticity.
I totally disagree. I love you for that. You're going to a very smart place. I would argue I see more lack of authenticity in the way that people are leveraging their family and personal life because they know it does well. I think the lack of accountability is leading to so much unhappiness. Life is so much better when you're this was my fault.
Absolutely.
You're in control. And so this was a wrap up to control. You're in control. You decide what you consume. You decide what you believe. You decide who you surround yourself with. You decide what you put out. Take on accountability.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to blame right now. The algorithm, they're acting as the algorithms are like hypnosis. And I understand endorphin hits and all that, but like you can delete the app. You can. Like, where's accountability in this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we have alcohol, we have tobacco, we have drugs, we have weapons, and we have all sorts of issues. But most people play within moderation. That's on you.
Yeah. And it's a tough truth, right? It's a tough truth. It's a tough truth.
Especially when you're unhappy.
Yeah, yeah.
That goes back to why it's important. It's like the chicken and egg. It's like working out. Like, I got into better shape the last 8 years. Nothing comes less natural to me.
Yeah, tell me.
Nothing comes less natural to me.
I can relate to you.
Right? Like, but like, I was like, I just would like to live longer.
Yes.
I would just like to live longer.
Yeah.
And go figure. It's not apple cider gummies. It's not steroids. It's not implants. I've thought about it. I'm like, can I get chest implants? I put in a lot of work. I feel like I've like Seth's good. Like I feel like I've done more than Seth, but like my body type, like, you know, and I'm like, I probably haven't, but no, it's like eat well, go in the gym, do the right things. And so same for life, you know, whether it's meditation, whether it's exercise, whether it's therapy, whether it's good conversations, whether it's surrounding, you know, back to us not having the serendipity, you know, we've had some meals, we've had some interactions. They're always like, they're nice.
We need more.
I would like that.
Yeah.
And we'll build on that. I think, you know, I'm spending more time thinking about spending more time with more while doubling down on core, you know? You know, because I did a really good job in the last 10 years of doubling down on core, but I think being as busy and I love what I do, you know, I really do want to build out a more of a friend network. I want to take more people from lightweight acquaintance to solid acquaintance. I want to take people from acquaintance to friend, from friend to best friend. And so I'm on a journey like everybody else, but I think that, I think, believe it or not, and this is going to sound so crazy for so many, the world actually has so much potential for everybody listening to be the best time to be alive. Medicine and technology, and there's so much, but we're caught right now. It's like a hamster wheel. We're in the momentum of focusing on, you know, the bad. Yeah. And there's always bad. Yeah. The Holocaust was bad. Genocide is always going on. Genghis Khan was not a fun time to be a human. Yeah. Like, you know, like we are very bad at history. I was a really bad student, but I did well in history. Like, but that starts with you. What are you going to do about it? Because right now everyone's like pointing and feels like it's on someone else. Yeah. It starts with ourselves. I mean, when you said that and you brought up the Holocaust, I recently read Edith Eger's book, The Gift. She lived through the Holocaust. And she had that mindset in the Holocaust. So she said the only way she got through it is she realized that she wasn't a prisoner, that the only prisoners were the guards because they were prisoners of their own conscience. Unbelievable. That was her mindset. She's right. And you know, she's like over 90 now or even older. And it's like, it's just phenomenal that her, Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, these two phenomenal books, if anyone hasn't read them, like they had that in that scenario. Well, that's the point I always make to everybody. Like, you know, the only thing that works for me is trying to contextualize moments in time. Yeah. And like, you know, our great-great-great-grandparents had it rough by comparison to the way we have it. And sure, they had some things that were better on simplicity, but we must choose optimism because what's the alternative? Yeah. Pessimism? Like, are you just gonna decide? Because once you decide, where are you? Once you decide it's bad, it's actually bad. And so like, one of the things that makes me very passionate to communicate is practical optimism, or the fact that I believe negativity is much better at marketing than positivity. Oh, for sure. I feel a huge sense of responsibility. What has become, out of all the things you've pursued, because I'm guessing at different stages in your life, and anyone who hasn't heard, I've interviewed Gary twice before, so you can go back and listen to those. You've pursued different things at different times. And every time I meet you, it's a really, what I love about it is that you just, there's so much growth and acceptance and embracing of this new you. Every time we talk, I feel like I'm talking to a even more self-aware human, which is a really fun feeling when you're checking in with someone in this way. And so I go, what have you found currently to be the most worthy pursuit? Like, what is it that you're pursuing that you've found worthy of pursuit? It's always been the same thing for me. it's almost as if I'm living two separate lives. The most worthy pursuit is I am wildly gifted at helping other people. And I'm incredibly comfortable of also being okay with feeding myself around my own interests. The most worthwhile pursuit, my friend, I think this is going to land with you, is the continuous balance beam that I walk on that is called equal parts selfish and equal parts selfless, and refining that skill set. And I think in the 3 times, if I may, off of your analogy, I think the beam is getting thinner and I'm still walking it. You know? Maybe the first time we met, it was like an Olympic beam or a high school beam. Maybe the second time was, you know, my hope is that as I continue to go, I'll be on a tightrope across Manhattan and walk it easily, because me playing my game of entrepreneurship gives me so much energy that I'm able to deploy it in a positive manner at scale. And I find it fascinating. And so that is what I continue to go after.
I love that. Gary, 40 minutes with you feels like an hour and 2 hours with someone else. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.
You're the best. Thank you, bro. I appreciate
you so
much.